everyone, it's Heather Crosby from YumUniverse, and today I'm going to show you one of my favorite recipes. It's a gluten-free, dairy-free recipe for brownies, but we're not going to use any kind of flour. We're going to use black beans as the base. That's right, black beans. This recipe couldn't be easier. Let's go ahead and get started. What you're going to need is a food processor, and we're basically going to take all of our ingredients, toss them in the food processor, then put them in the pan, bake them, done. But one of my favorite tricks for a baking dish to kind of minimize any stickiness to the pan or clean up, it also reduces the amount of oil that you have to use. Like instead of greasing the pan, what we're going to do is line it with parchment paper. You want to use an unbleached parchment paper so you don't get the chlorine baked into all your food. You just kind of run your finger around the border of the bottom and everything will press in just fine, especially when we get our batter in there. So parchment paper, it's your friend. When the brownies are done too, you'll just be able to lift the parchment paper out, set it down, cut it up, super easy, no scooping anything out of a pan. It really just is the way to go, I think. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got some soaked and cooked black beans here. Now make sure that you go to YumUniverse.com to learn about how to actually properly prepare beans, legumes, seeds, all of that stuff. You definitely want to soak them overnight first and then cook them. These are not from a can. I try not to use stuff in a can because it's just sitting there. It's got all the aluminum in there. So let's just take the extra step and soak and cook some black beans, and we're going to add those to our food processor. And we're also going to use a sweetener called succanat, which is basically the least minimally processed sugar from the sugar cane. So all the nutrients are still in there. It kind of tastes like brown sugar a little bit. So we're going to add some succanat to the food processor. And using a double boiler method, I have melted chocolate bar or chocolate chips, whatever works for you, with some coconut oil. So that's melted together already. And I'm going to add this to the food processor. I'm using my silicone kitchen scraper, which I love because it helps me get everything out of this pan into the food processor. I'm going to try to get all that chocolate in there. There you go. Awesome. And then we've just got a little bit of cocoa powder. You can also use raw cacao powder if you want, but whatever. Just use the measurement, put it in the food processor. I've got just a tiny little bit of sea salt here, fine ground sea salt. Adding that. And then finally we just have some vanilla extract. And I'm going to add that to the mix. Being generous with it in this recipe, it's a whole tablespoon, but it tastes great. Okay, that's it. Those are our ingredients. Put it in the food processor, fit it with your S-blade, and you're going to go ahead and pulse it and mix it until it's super creamy. Be sure to go to YumUniverse.com for all the step-by-step photos and measurements. Enjoy!